call a meeting to order. Is the meeting properly announced?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Roll call show that all committee members are here except for Ken, and he is on Zoom, so. Approval of agenda. So moved. Motion been made and seconded to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Public participation on agenda items. I don't think we have anything at this point. Approval of minutes last meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Any discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. 2024 assets. Equipment purchases.
Okay, so this is our I do. Hello,
Yeah,
any better?
yeah.
So this is our 2024 asset replacement request. We talked about this, I believe, if not 1, possibly 2 months now. The reason we're pursuing it today is because of what is now a time delay in getting equipment. You can see that on the spreadsheet here, Gary here did a fair amount of work for us and reaching out to several vendors. And I tried to color code those. I guess we could all follow along. So we reached out to Cat, Miller Bradford. So we got Cat, Case, Liebherr, and then another model called Devlon, and then we also did reach out to Volvo, which they were unable to meet the item and spec that we were the unit that we were looking for. So looking at all that, those vendors up there, if you go down to the yellow one, yep, you're fine. The yellow, that is the Devlon. That is the lowest cost unit on the spreadsheet, and it is the Devlon. What is that? That's essentially now a combination of Komatsu, is it here? Doosan and Komatsu?
And yeah, Hyundai.
All good brands, relatively I would say newer to the market, but not newer as a group to construction equipment. They've built equipment before. So Gary, not me, did a fair amount of research, reached out to several communities. There are a couple of these units in operation now. They are in Wisconsin, city of help me out
There's
here.
a township. There's a township up by Wausau. There's a township up by Wausau that has one. 2 of the patrol soups went and looked at it. Were very pleased how robust it's built, how heavy duty it's built. I guess Doosan's been around since 1937, from what they tell me. Appears to be a good unit. So, good warranty, bumper to bumper. All around, generally, for the money, it seems to be unit of choice.
Scott.
I see your prices with trade, without trade. Is that pretty much in line with what you guys thought that piece of equipment we have is worth?
Actually, no, we were hoping to get more. Each of them gave us the option of putting this excavator up for auction. And if we you know, if the reserve bid is not met at 25,000, we can pull it back and that's what they'll give us for our trade. If we get 40,000, then we just trade the 25,000 to them and we get the rest. So, and I have looked, rubber tired excavators are more popular over in Europe than they are here. There is a general want and desire for some. They range anywhere from 20 to 50,000, depending on the shape and hours. So we're hoping to get more in the auction, but if nothing else, we'll get 25,000 for it with 2 buckets and the old grapple traded.
Scott,
So the figure that we would be looking at today would be the 337, and then it would be contingent on what if it did go to Wisconsin surplus or wherever the auction site, that would come off of that figure.
Correct.
what's the availability?
About 200 days. Pretty much everybody said 200 to 300 days.
Yeah.
It's Swiderski said it could be sooner, but which puts us in, I believe it's May if I did the math right.
Are you gonna try and put the old one up for auction prior to?
Yeah, what he told me is that, and we talked about it. By the time they get it in, takes about a week, so if they call me and say, or call the highway department, call and say it's in, we can, you know, put it up on auction for 7 to 10 days. Once they deliver the machine, if ours is still available, then we would have to surrender ours to them, so.
Okay. Scott,
I'm confused on the far right there. It says trade 25,000, 2 buckets and a grapple. Can you explain that for me?
Yeah, we'd be trading, we have a 60-inch ditching bucket, and a 48-inch digger bucket, and then our old grapple. Those 3 items would go with the machine on the auction and or trade. We would be getting 2 new buckets and a grapple with the new machine.
So I don't see them listed on here. Them are just like, they're not add-ons, they're just come
No,
with the
correct.
machine.
It's
Okay,
included with the price.
okay, thank you.
And the 2 pieces of equipment or attachments that we would be keeping is our plate compactor and our frost tooth. And they guaranteed me that the highways attachments that we're keeping will fit their machine, so.
any other questions?
I'll make a motion. If there's no question,
Okay,
make a motion to accept the Swiderski equipment price of $337,292.81. Contingent on that price going down with the trade.
I'll second that.
okay, motion been made and seconded to approve Swiderski's bid. Is there any other discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carried. Asset disposal, new 2,500 pickup is in.
Yep, so we finally did take delivery of our new pickup, that is in use now, so the unit that it replaced or is replacing, we're ready to dispose of that. In addition to that pickup, we also would have some excess parts that we no longer, have units that fit. Remember, we did just take delivery of our new John Deere tractor, so some of that case parts that we had on the shelf, we did not send with that tractor. We figured we would take a chance at the auction site here and some of that stuff would be sold there. And then in addition to that, of course, the unit that we're talking about here, 663, that would either go to auction or to trade as part of the sale.
Scott,
Do you need a motion to sell that then, or you're just telling us that's what you're doing?
Well, I think it'd be best for us if we had a motion and some directive to go ahead and release that equipment. We will be disposing of, you know, a pickup
Right.
and a large piece of equipment, our excavator here shortly.
yeah,
So is there a dollar amount that you gotta stay under where you don't have to get a motion? Like for those case parts and stuff, I don't think we need a motion for any of that.
no,
I think if there was going to be a motion, it could be to dispose of the assets discussed or something of that nature. The case parts are, you're right, they're probably, I don't know how much financially, not sure at this point either. As far as the excavator, like Gary had mentioned, what we will do when we get to that point is we will run it on the auction site. We'll put a reserve on it, and if the reserve is not met, it won't be sold on the auction site, and then that will go to trade and offset that difference that we saw there.
maybe make a motion on
I'll make a motion to put on Wisconsin surplus or wherever you guys are gonna do it this time. The 2005 Liebherr A924, the pickup truck, and whatever case parts he has to get rid of.
Second.
okay, motion been made and seconded to do the asset disposal on the pickup and whatever parts is available. Is there any other discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Wisconsin DOT 2024 RMA.
So this is our routine maintenance agreement with Wisconsin DOT, and under this agreement, it's exactly that. We provide maintenance on the state highway system under this agreement, and that's everything from plowing, patching, mowing, snow fence, all those activities on the state highway system. So the agreement this year is the same. It did not go up from the previous year. It was held at the same funding level at $685,200. And under this agreement, you can see there really is no signature block for the committee under this. I've always brought this document to the committee for review, but ultimately, I guess, the approval process is electronic. It's my signature electronically is how it gets done.
And there really is no adjustment on that anyway. Unless you go over.
It can happen where we do go over, you are
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
A lot of RMA agreements right now in the state of Wisconsin are over. We probably, most of us will stay that way going into the next budget cycle for the DOT. They won't make us whole, I guess is what I'm saying. So what happens is they're not going to take our 2024 RMA to backfill the 2023. Okay, we'll get the full 2024 to operate.
Yeah. Scott, you had a question?
You mentioned in past meetings where you've taken on more state striping and whatnot, painting. And that is not included in that. That's like a separate deal with the state.
Correct. Those are all, those painting agreements are separate from this RMA. And this only addresses and deals with maintenance in Adams County. So from the north to the southeast, it's mowing, patching, gravel, shoulder, all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
Painting are separate agreements with the DOT, correct?
And we don't have to do any action on that, so it's just a update. Composite rate contract.
So the composite rate agreement is just that, and it deals specifically with winter maintenance operations. We've used this type of agreement with the DOT for as long as I can remember. And what it does is it takes the truck and all the attachments and combines them into one composite rate. For us and our guys that, so for example, a plow truck, the truck would be one unit. The plow will be another unit. The underbody will be another number. The wing will be another number. And the sander will be another number. And I'm guessing, if we have our new truck, our brine, more of our brine, I don't want to call it a brine truck yet, but our mostly liquid truck, that would have another number. So you could potentially have 5 or 6 numbers to report on. Under a composite rate agreement, you don't do that. It's one combined rate, and if you're out there for 4 hours, it's 4 hours at that combined rate. So that's why we use it. It's easier for us and it's easier for our guys. Combined composite rate agreements are not unique to Adams County. There are other multiple counties that use composite rates. So it's one rate for all the equipment on the truck is how it works. And that varies by truck, by the class of the truck that we have.
Yeah.
This agreement does require committee approval and signature.
Okay,
I just got one question. I see it hasn't been updated since 2016, so it must be something that's working for both the county and the state.
Yeah, that is the most recent agreement. We just pulled that earlier this, I think it was earlier this, maybe late last week. We just pulled that off the DOT website. So that's the most current agreement that they have for us.
Yeah. Phil, you had a question? Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion been made and seconded to approve the composite rate contract. Is there any other discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Sorry, Kenny, I didn't wait for you.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm in favor.
Okay. County construction project.
So County Trunk Highway M is, I guess I'll call it tied up or complete for this season. There are no activities taking place out there, no construction, nothing is scheduled, nothing is happening. Everything is stagnant now until 2024 when things will resume. We do not have a start date for 2024 yet. We would like to anticipate or hope and guess our ask will be that we are at the front of the construction schedule. So first to be worked on.
Yeah.
Gordy.
Yep. Scott.
I traveled it the other day all the way from Marquette County down, and it's turned out really nice. I just did we have to pay extra for like I want to call it curb and gutter, but you might call it something different. It seemed like on a lot of corners they had that, or was that all figured in on the bid?
That should have been all in. Right, Pat?
Curb and gutter was included in the proposal and in the bid. So sometimes when you see that in the areas, we do that at intersections sometime to help keep folks on the pavement. And sometimes you'll see that at county to county where we're trying to limit the amount of debris or gravel that kicks out into the intersection. And then in other areas like on east of G, you'll see that curb appeared in some cut areas on where there were I wouldn't say an extensive cut, but a fair amount of cutting was done. So they'll use a curb and that eliminates the need for a ditch. And then that limits or reduces the amount of right of way to be acquired. And that's what was done there. We will have more curb. There's curb on the other side actually as well at the intersection. There's some at 6th as well.
We'll move on, county CC construction project.
So, County Double C, it's just north of G, is complete. It's been pulverized, it's paved, shouldered, and the painting is done on that road now. We do not have an invoice for it. Talked to engineer, yesterday afternoon. And they will be, so we did have construction oversight out there, I guess what I'm saying. So our general engineer was out there. They have final quantities for us, but we have not been billed for that project as of yet. But it is complete and done.
Scott,
Gordy, I just got a question on the agenda and the other from Pat. Number 12 or number 11 had 3 things and then the yeah, I guess it's just a different wording.
Mhm.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah, I guess the one thing that would, if you want to back up to M, the one thing that I didn't mention, I think everybody knows, we've talked about this multiple times already. County M, west of G, what you're driving on there is binder or the lower level of asphalt. So it's not finished asphalt, it's just binder. So next year, that entire stretch that's new, that'll get paved over again with the surface layer.
Yeah, that's one.
okay, move on to traffic safety recommendations and updates.
Yeah, so the meeting, traffic safety was held yesterday afternoon. And a relatively brief meeting. A few things that we did talk about was the intersection of State Highway 21, County Trunk Highway Z. We've had a few incidents there. Unfortunately, they are, by the accident report, seems like it is predominantly driver error. But nonetheless, we did talk about the intersection with, in our traffic safety committee, we have DOT and State Patrol representation there. So we did make the request of DOT to review and do an intersection analysis out there to see if there's anything else that could help improve the area. I think we all know that is flat as a lot of areas in Adams County, and you can see for quite a distance. Yeah, and so we did make that request, and we'll see. The DOT, of course, they could not commit to that yesterday. They will take that back and hopefully have an answer for us and see if they can do their intersection evaluation and see if there's any elements that we could improve or they can improve out there. I think some of the things that are not there, double stop signs. In some of the instances that we looked at, folks had stopped. They were stopped and then they pulled out, and very, very unfortunate, but it just leads me to believe that they didn't look.
I know it's not something you can do anything about, but I know when you come up to that intersection going south. And the sun, the way it was today, you look to the west and you can't hardly see anything because it's just a blur. It's just a time of day, but I know some of those accidents have been at night too, so.
So in addition to that, um, in addition to that intersection, other items that we discussed at traffic safety were, the intersection of State Highway 13 and Brevard Street right here in town with the school bus movements and students crossing. The city was on our meeting. Unfortunately, the school district was not able to attend. But, you know, just trying to come up with, additional ideas, additional measures to make folks aware of what's happening there with the bus movement, with students, with the road closure, possibly adding some it's gonna be a no left turn and a no right turn when they have that closed. That was being talked about and considered, so that's gonna be presented to the DOT if those signs could possibly be added there during school hours. And then that that sign that'll have hours of when you can make those movements and when you, I guess, when you can't, as opposed to when you can. So that was gonna be looked at. The lights, they were going to be looked at. They were inquiring about potentially upgrading the lights, the beacons out there that are there, so. And those are the two, the two agenda items that we had.
Yeah, going back to 21 and Z there, has there been any talk of possibly putting up, flashing stop signs?
So there hasn't been. Now, flashing stop signs, we've talked about a little bit in other areas of the county. In this section here, this is a state highway and it's not for even the highway committee to make that
Okay,
determination. I can, on behalf of the committee, bring that up. I think one of the things, I think a few things should, I don't know, I think the intersection evaluation, hopefully the DOT will agree to do that. There is a cluster of accidents that have taken place there. I can't remember if it was a 5 or a 7 year look back, but I believe it was a 12 incidents at the intersection. I believe it was 5 or 7. I can't remember for sure at the moment, but there is a little bit of a history of incidents there. So, I certainly can. Now, we've all moved around Adams County. We've moved around in multiple areas. It's just not something you see very often on a state highway where they have that flashing stop sign. Not to say it can't be, just you don't see it often.
yeah, more on the state on state intersections. Okay. Anybody else have any questions on, traffic safety? Not, we'll move to report on highway department operations.
We unfortunately did have our first weather event that we needed to respond to. That occurred on 10/31. We actually had plowable snow, north of 21. Accumulation, I didn't see it myself, but we did have plowable snow up there, 2 to 3 inches of slush on the road. So, first, event of the season, has taken place already. We were doing some work for the town of Newchester, both in, patching and mowing. That's still ongoing. We are continuing to work on that State Highway 13 PBM. That's that crack filling project on State Highway 13, from 21 all the way to the town of Rome, County Trunk Highway D. Probably one more day and hopefully we will have that knocked out. Additionally, we do have a few more days of painting left that we would like to try to squeeze in, and it looks like next week that will work. Temperatures look favorable for that. We have been moving, sand into our building for mixing salt sand. So we're hauling out of Manthe Quarry. We did today, no, not today, but we did yesterday. We're just about done hauling sand into our shop. We also did do deliveries of salt sand to the town of Summit in Juneau County. And then we also dropped some at the town of Big Flats, as they were interested in using sand from us this year. I think I mentioned it last month, but if I didn't, we did get that patch done on County P just north of Gillette there, where that pavement was out of alignment, a fair amount. What we, have not started snow fence yet. However, we have talked about it, and it will be coming here soon for us, that we will start putting posts in. Now, we put snow fence up, we'll get the post in the ground. That's the most important thing. You can't hang fence if you can't get posts in the ground. So we will make an effort to drive as many posts as we can, to avoid having to deal with the frost. We do have, let's see, we did have an offer out for a mechanic, and unfortunately things did not work out, and we are in pursuit of this second, of another applicant. And then in addition, one more item, we had what is referred to as a local officials meeting. And that was for State Highway 21, from the Wisconsin River over to State Highway 13. That is for the milling and overlaying of State Highway 21 in that segment. So during that process, I again took the opportunity to bring up that intersection and, you know, our desire to have it looked at further and evaluated further for any possible improvements or changes that might be considered or made. Now, the project they're proposing is a mill and overlay, so it's not a grading project, it's not reconstruction, it's a mill and overlay. As part of the project, though, they will replace the 3 box culverts just east of the Wisconsin River Bridge. There's 3 box culverts over there. Those will be replaced. And then there will be some work done on the Arkdale Bridge, right in Arkdale there. So there's some deck repairs and some drip edge that will be done to that structure as part of the overlay project. And then the other note that I would just make the committee and those aware of is that the project right here in town, in the Village of Friendship, got advanced. And so what you will see is this concrete out here in 2024, that project, I think maybe we've talked about it before. So the project, Allison's looking at me like he's not. So the project in Friendship here, the concrete, and it is from Mountain View Drive, so just north of the dam, down to North Street or the stoplights down there. What they're going to do is mill that concrete. So they're going to bring a mill and mill that concrete down. Then there's going to be a joint repair process that takes place. And so they're going to try to address those joints that are in the worst condition. They're going to try to address those joints that are in the worst condition. So what they'll do is they'll cut some of those out and replace them. And my question was back, it was a while ago now, but my question was, and what about those joints that you don't saw cut out? And so, yeah, we will clean those that maybe have some additional delamination, and we'll patch those. It's the DOT's project, not ours. I, in the city, in the village, we've all tried to weigh in as much as we can. It is a mill and overlay that got moved to 2024, so we will see that happen next year. And in addition to those changes, some of the other things that'll happen is you're going to see, I'll call them bump outs for lack of a better, term, at the crosswalk areas where they bulb those out a little bit. So that'll happen here as well. And, that's scheduled for now, 2024.
Going back to that mill overlay on 21, what was the schedule on that as far as timing?
Yeah.
I know that had gotten pushed out a ways before.
I'm sorry I didn't give you that date. The mill and overlay, I guess I say I did talk about that intersection. The mill and overlay date is 2027. We talked about the mill and overlay on 21, and I think those that travel it periodically notice and see some wheel rutting out there. Wheel rutting is a result of stuff going on below the pavement. It's the base or the subgrade. Something's moving a little bit on us. And I did bring that up, that while we do appreciate the mill and overlay, we probably are falling just short of correcting the problem that's causing the surface issues in us. And that's unfortunately as far as we got.
So they're still looking at 27.
27, yeah, 2027.
Gordy,
Yes.
while we're still on that, you said they're replacing what, 3 culverts? So that's gonna mean that that road's gonna be shut down?
No, actually, 21 will remain open to traffic while
Okay.
that's being done.
All right.
They're able to do that side by side or widen some out there to get around.
Yep.
Do half and half or. Okay.
Yeah, so most likely when that time comes, you'll see, they used them in the past out there, stop and go lights.
Yeah.
Because just like we talked, those culverts, I think they're all wet, so it will be quite an undertaking, but yeah, it'll be open to traffic.
All right, 23 project status report, anything there?
I can't see it. I'm sitting in the back of the room. I did update the project status report. I think I closed out all of the, I didn't close out, I said completed, or there's no other bills coming in for our seal coating projects. I believe I also did update, Chris gave me some new numbers for the payments on, or what we've expended on county, M. I think you might have to scroll up just a pinch. Yeah, there you go. I can't read it though. Can you see it, Chris?
Yeah, yep. So it's we're currently at about 2.6 million spent on that project.
So at 2.6 million, there, there's still some money being held on the east side. So there's some contingency being held on the east side of County M. About, I don't know, maybe 100,000, just probably right around, it's just under 100,000, I think, in contingency that's being held. That likely is probably going to be released here sometime this winter. And the project will be considered complete. At 2.6 million, we shouldn't, because we at the highway department should have carried or have 3 million available, because we carried forward 1.5 and then we have 1.5 typically for new construction. We should be fine and not needing to go into or ask for funds out of the general fund at this point yet. Or I know there's the ARPA funds as well that we have committed towards this project.
Anybody have any questions on the status report? Now we'll move on to financial report if there's any update there.
If anyone has any questions,
I got one. now that we okayed this, new rubber tire excavator, did he say that that was readily available?
200
They had
days.
two of them, think he said.
The rubber tire excavator is a 200-day delivery.
Yeah. So that'll come out of next year's budget?
It'll be paid, right, correct.
Yes.
'Cause I think Gary figured it'd probably be around May by the time it becomes available.
I know that's a concern and how budget numbers, how we paying for it. Just remember, when we buy equipment at our building, we don't have levied dollars committed to asset replacement. Those funds come out of the machinery account, and that's how those, assets are purchased and replaced. So for us, if we do well, and we've been doing well or good, we have a fair amount of funds to purchase things. Now, in this case here, on the question of the excavator, we originally had budgeted, I believe it was 500,000, and it come in at like 312 or 337, depending on how you look at it. What also happens then though is if we sell that excavator for 55,000 on the auction site, that money gets dumped back into that machinery account.
Right.
I can't remember, but this was one of the, items that you had scheduled to be replaced this year. And then one more truck, dump truck or no?
It's the only item on our 2024 asset
Okay.
replacement. Because we were anticipating a large purchase, we didn't put anything else in there.
Thanks, Pat.
Any other questions, financial? Not, if anybody has any, upcoming agenda items, you let me or Pat know. Next meeting date is December 14th. And, meeting adjourned. Bring you a present.